project.
So let's bring another dangerous man on screen, and that's the King. Because, of course, he's been in France over the last couple of days meeting Macron. There he is. And this was, of course, getting all the sort of pomp and ceremony in the mainstream press. But in the background, what was going on was there was a gathering at the National Museum of Natural History in Paris, where Macron and King Charles heard from various company chief executives and leading organizations about how they are supporting action on tackling climate change and nature loss in emerging and developing economies. So this is an effort to do something about Belt and Road, or at least change the tack of African countries and so on, South American countries. Now, this is a follow-on meeting from the Climate and Nature Finance Mobilization Forum, because actually it's not about climate change really, and it's not about biodiversity either. It's really only about finance. And that was held in Windsor back in March. And they say it builds on long-standing collaboration between the UK and France to accelerate action on climate change and protect the natural environment. And so all these financial institutions and philanthropists were announcing a range of new investment platforms and initiatives, because that's really what it is, City of London stuff. And of course, this was part and parcel of the Sustainable Markets Initiative. This is it was Prince Charles, but now King Charles's initiative to bring $9 trillion of support into transitioning to net zero by 2030 or sooner. And so far they've provided and mobilized over $2.5 trillion, they claim, in capital as part of those commitments since 2020. So of course this encapsulates the Terra Carta, and also because, just being earthbound is not sufficient. It also encapsulates Astra Carta to make sure that if we move into space, we do so in a sustainable way and make sure that there's no carbon emissions in space either.
I find it's nearly unbelievable, this stuff, Mike. It's real. It's what the King is involved in. He is another one who's clearly in bed with Klaus Schwab and the whole of the net zero policy. Not only is he going to save the planet, he can't save people in this country, but he's going to save the planet. And as you now say, he's going to save space. In fact, I think we need to be saved from the King.
Indeed. Now, Macron has been busy, not only meeting King Charles, but a couple of days ago, meeting the other King, Starmer, because of course he's likely to become the next Prime Minister, isn't he? So they were there discussing climate change and a whole bunch of other things. But of course, Keir Starmer, doing a little international tour, was also meeting Mr. Trudeau in.
It's unpleasant. Was this just before the kiss or afterwards?
It's hard to say,
Right.
but this was obviously in Montreal. 43 minutes of one-to-one talks with the French president, and goodness knows how many minutes of one-to-one talks with Trudeau. So he is trying to set himself up as the next king of Britain, I guess.
Yeah, so probably if you're a betting type, this is the new Prime Minister who's just parading himself around the world. We'll see.
Yes. Okay, let's move on. If you like what the UK column does, you would like to support us, please head over to community.ukcolumn.org, become a member, join us, become a member of the community. Your support very much needed and appreciated. Or you could pick something up at the UK column shop. But in the meantime, do share anything you find on the various platforms, especially ukcolumn.org and ukcolumnextracts.co.uk. Now, this evening, beginning at 6 o'clock, we're having an expose of the HPV vaccine. This is being run by Children's Health Defence Europe, and of course we're streaming it out. It'll also be on chd.tv. Mary Holland and a bunch of other excellent presenters, doctors and others, and also some parents of people that have been affected, who have children that have been affected by the HPV vaccine, giving their evidence this evening. So do come along and watch that if you possibly can. Another reminder of the event taking place in Sweden, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, the 29th, 30th of September and the 1st of October. This 30th of September, part of it is going to be live streamed by Oracle Films, but there are residential tickets available if you want to go to that, if you are in Sweden or can get to Sweden. Some fantastic speakers on that, as you can see on screen. and the details at doctorsappeal.com if you would like to find out more.
Okay, thank you for that, Mike. Well, we've also got this one that was sent through to us by Stuart. It's Safe Schools for Kids, End Indoctrination Now. And this is a gathering to discuss the state of education in Glasgow. And of course, education north of the border has all the problems that we're seeing south of the border, with in particular with the sexualisation of the children and the drag queens. Speakers for this event include social workers, child protection officers, health professionals, educators, parents and activists. And that's on the 28th of September at 1:30 p.m, George Square, Glasgow. So as always, if you're reasonably local and can get along, your presence makes a difference.
Where does that take us then? Well, yes, a reminder that also on the 30th of September, Matt Campbell and Piers will be speaking at an event in Camden in London. They will be covering the official story versus the truth of 9/11. So this begins at 1:30 p.m. in Camden Town. We will have the link for this in the show notes under this program. So do get along to that if you can as well. And then I just want to remind everybody that we talked about this on Wednesday, the petition to pause the energy bill. We spoke about this on the news. This, of course, is going to apply pretty stringent requirements for energy standards in private homes, and you won't be allowed to sell your home, for example, if you don't meet the standards, if this goes through. So that had on Wednesday 8,000 signatures. It now has just below the 10,000 signatures requiring a government response. But this really needs to get to 100,000 signatures at the very least.
We just add that a lot of people still don't think signing into one of these makes a difference, but in fact it does, particularly when the response from the public is extremely large. So don't just say, well, it doesn't make any difference. If you take action and you sign up and you get many other people to do it, it does increase pressure on the government, and the more pressure, the better.